If your Tesla tire looks bald like mine and you are in a need for another tire, I have a really great option for you all. My sentiment is that I go through tires on a Tesla way quicker than any other vehicles out there that I've driven. That's because this vehicle is very heavy, it is high performance, and the OEM tires that they put like this on a Tesla, they are suitable to give you the maximum amount of range, but they sacrifice a lot when it comes to stability, the performance, the handling, and most importantly, tread life. That is why engineers at Falken came up with this amazing tire that gives you 50,000 mile warranty on a tread life if you use it on your Tesla. That is how comfortable and confident they are that their tire is gonna last long. They made this for stability. It gives you a way better handling than the OEM Tesla tires, and also comes in very handy for things where you need to do the instant torque, the control, the steering. There's a lot of benefit it comes with this tire. This is the all-season tires that is designated to handle the cold, the snow, the wet conditions, the dry conditions, the patterns that they use. It is just amazing what they came up with. So today we're going to be throwing out this OEM Tesla tires and put our new tire from Falken. At the same time, I wanted this to be super easy where I could do this job on my own in my driveway. So I reached out to TSportline, who carries this Falken tires as well as this beautiful Flow Force wheels from TSportline. These are directional wheel for your Tesla. And the great thing about TSportline is that they mount everything for you. The tire, the wheel, the TPMS sensor, it is balanced, it is the right pressure. It just shows up in your driveway and you're able to just swap out your old one with the new one under an hour. I'm gonna show you how to do that step by step. You don't have to go to a tire shop or anything. You can completely order this online and it just shows up in your driveway. These wheels are really nice wheels that we're gonna talk about the aesthetics and everything here in just a second, but super comfortable with the tires. I have already put in 1,500 miles on these tires and wheels, so this is not one of those reviews where I'm like, yeah, it looks good, I just swapped it out. It is actually, I have had a lot of time to test this out, talk about the range, talk about the performance, the overall feelings that I'm getting from this tire, so that you have everything that you need to know about these tires as well as these wheels here today. These wheels and tires were sent to us by TSportline in partnership with Falken to review in our channel today. TSportline is the OG of Tesla accessories. They have got so much wheels and tire option along with everything else that you can think of. So let's say if we were to go to Model Y, the new Model Y, the old Model Y, you can see the wheels, the interior, exterior, performance, tools and swag. They have got it all covered on their website if you wanted to check them out. We have been reviewing their products for a really long time and extremely satisfied. They're a US-based company. They've got a US phone number that you can reach out. They are in Atlanta, they're in California. You can go through and look through what they do. They have a lot of different process here that you can see. They also do installation if you wanted to check them out. But basically, the TSB, the TSS, you can see like the wheel options that you got here. So if you were to go to, let's say, Model 3, 2024 to present, you can go and look at like winter out of the wheel and tire options. They got winter tire and whatnot. So you can select and choose, as you can see. So now, how do you check when you need to replace your tires? Most Tesla tires now come with this bar that runs across, if you look at it in the middle. And if you're getting close to that bar, then that means your tires are worn out. These tires are pretty much bald at this point. So mine were at that point that where I absolutely needed to replace them. But you can look at that line, and if you look at it, that is super, super tight there. You can see those are exposed. Now, if we were to go over here and look at the new ones, you see those bars are way down below there, so that gives you an idea that you still have plenty of space remaining. Now, another thing you can do is good old penny test, right? So grab a penny here and then put the Lincoln facing upside down and then put it on your tread. Now, when you put this here, you can't see the full face of Lincoln. If you look at it from this angle here, it is the treads are covering it. If you look at it here, it's like half of it is covered. Now let's go to a ball tire, and you do it here. You can see that this is fully, like, we can see the full head. That is another big indicator that these tires are done, that we need to get a new tire. So that's how you can do it. Like, just take a penny and then put it upside down like this. And if you can see the whole thing, then they're done. So this is how the tires and the wheels are shipped. If you get it from TSportline, they pre-mount the wheel and the tire combo with you. So you don't have to do anything. It just comes to your doorstep and you're literally able to just swap this out. As you can see, these are the ones that we are taking a look at it today. Silent Core from Falken, and let's unpack this. But as you see, it comes as a piece, and FedEx might roll it, so you might get a little dirty, but they have foam and everything. So a couple of very important things you're going to need for this job. First of all, you're going to need a jack. You can get the typical scissor style jack that are found common, or a hydraulic jack like this. These are low profile jack, and I really like this because it is super easy to use. I'm going to put a link for a couple of options down below. You're also going to need to loosen that lug nut, so you can use an impact driver like this, or you can get a traditional breaker bar that also works. For a socket, this is a 21 mil on my Tesla Model Y. I think that's the common for everything. You're also going to need jack pads. So these are absolutely necessary for Tesla, so you don't damage anything on the Tesla. So you have to put this on a jack point. I'll show you where, but you're going to need this. These are fairly inexpensive. Some even come with magnetic now, so that can kind of stick there. And then you're going to need a torque wrench. You can get mechanical one. They're very common. You can get some from Amazon. I'm going to put a link down below. I like this one because it has a digital reading in it, so you don't have to try to figure out the manual one. But you can get any of this, but I would highly recommend getting a torque wrench so that you can torque those lug nuts to the specified specs that you have on your wheels. So that's basically what you need. I would also recommend getting a mat like that so that you don't get too dirty. And this is going to be a dirty job because the wheel is going to have some dirt and whatnot. So it is going to take a little while, but that's basically what you need. Let's get started. So the first thing in this process is we're going to need to loosen these lug nuts and then lift the car, because if we try to lift the car first, you're going to have a hard time loosening this lug nut because the wheel is going to be spinning. So for that, you can use this standard 7/8 13x16 breaker bar like this, where you just go apply some pressure and then just loosen this lug nuts. Depending on how tight it is, you may have to use some force. So your job is basically loosen it so that it becomes easier to just pull those out. You can also use an impact driver like this, 21 millimeter, and just get in there and try to remove the lug nut, loosen the lug nut from here so that all of this gets loosened. Again, don't remove it completely, but just loosen it so that we can lift the car safely and then remove the wheel. Now to lift the car, we have to find the appropriate jack point for each of the wheels, and it is going to be directly underneath here. You're going to see that it has a little hole there, so that is your jack point. That's where we need to put the jack pad. So this is the jack point, and what you need to do is find that hole here and basically put it inside the jack point, and then this is going to kind of hold into its place like this. So this is why we get this ready and then put it onto that jack point. And if you're not used to a hydraulic jack like this, what happens is if you loosen this, so if you use the counterclockwise, this just drops there. And if you tighten it clockwise, so we're going to tighten it clockwise. Now, if you lift this, the jack actually starts lifting. So that's how you tighten this and it start working. So now what we do is slide this slightly inside. So we go inside. And then I'm going to show you how we can find that jack point. So we have found the location. Now, if you look at it here, it goes in nicely into its place. Now we're ready to lift the car. Now we come over here and start lifting the car. As you see, the car slowly gets lifted. And our job is to make enough clearance so that we can remove that wheel. Now we have lifted this off the ground. We can go ahead and completely remove this lug nuts from the wheel so that we can go ahead and remove the wheel. Because these were loosened, we're able to do that. So if you look at it here, they recommend going on a star pattern. So you're going from one side to another, and then at the end, just be careful you're done with this lug nut. So this wheel can come off anytime. So you want to hold on to the wheel, and then you can just simply go ahead and pull the wheel out. So we completely removed that wheel. Now let's swap it with the new wheel. So here are the beautiful directional wheels from TSportline. And if you look at these wheels here, those two are facing towards the left, and then the other ones are facing towards the right. And that is the nature of a true directional wheel. Whenever people sell directional wheel, if you look at it very closely oftentimes, they're just going to be facing the same way, like just one direction. And what happens is when you install those, you're gonna have two tires on the right facing this way, but then the other two tires on the left are gonna be facing that way. So it's not going to match. So a true directional wheel always comes with two wheels facing one way and the other two wheels facing the other way. And that is what we have seen here. Those two are facing towards the right, those two are facing towards the left, and that's how we install it. It is either dig or swoop, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. A lot of aesthetics here, but basically this is a true real directional wheel, two facing this way, two facing the other way. Let's go ahead and get this installed. So now we got the new wheels and tires, and because these are directional wheels, there's two ways you can mount this. Either it's called swoop, which is going towards backward. If you look at the spokes here, they are kind of facing backward, and that is swoop. That is the most common way. Truckers use that all the time. Or the other way is dig, which means would be facing this way. So another tire that we have got, another wheel, that will be facing this way when you put it in. So you just have to make sure that you know the orientation that you want. For me, I'm going to do the swoop, which would be, this is going to be facing back. So it kind of looks like it is flowing even when the car is stationary. So I'm going to do the swoop method. So now we're ready to mount this into the car. Now mounting this back is exactly the same way as it came out. So we just have to have our lug nuts handy because that's what we're gonna use, the original lug nut. And our job is basically to lift this wheel and tire and then essentially just mount it onto those lug nuts there. Now once you have figured out the alignment, everything is in place, this is back and everything is good. We went with the swoop pattern here. The spokes are facing towards the backward, so kind of looks like this is flowing here. And now what you do is you take your lug nut and you start putting those in. Don't over tighten it or anything. Just secure those lug nuts in place just lightly here for now. And you want to go on a cross pattern. So cross pattern meaning this, and then it is going to be this. This allows you to evenly tighten this wheel. So then after that, we're going to go to this guy here. Again, we're not fully tightening it yet. The other one here, just put those in, and then we have the final one going in here. So there you go. Now we need to evenly tighten this out. That's why I've been a little bit cautious. So I would actually use a breaker bar to go ahead and hand tighten those before we lower the car. So you go here, again, evenly tightening it, don't fully tighten it in one swoop. You can go in a cross pattern and keep doing this here. So again, you want to go on cross pattern and start tightening those. And once it is tightened enough, the wheel is going to start rotating. So it is not going to allow you to fully tighten this here because we have the car lifted. So just go to there, again, doing the cross. So now we're gonna go ahead and slowly lower the car. Don't do this, very fast here. You wanna slowly let the jack go to ground. And if you look at it, there you go. So now we are good to go. We can pull this out. Now we need to further tighten those lug nuts so the wheel doesn't come flying at you. This is where I would further tighten this again on a cross pattern here. And then once we are good to go, then we're gonna use the torque wrench to measure the torque. So these are pretty good now. So now we need to use the torque wrench to tighten this to spec. Tesla calls for 129 foot-pounds, and this is a really nice torque wrench, easy to use. As I said, I'll put a link down below. You push the power button, you can change between different units. So we are in foot-pounds right now, but if you wanted to go to Newton meter or whatnot, you can go do that. So there's a lot of units here. So foot-pounds, we're at 116, and to adjust this, going this way increases it, going this way decreases it when you pull this out. So again, as I said, it is 129 foot-pound for a Model Y. Yours might be different, so look up the Tesla's manual for your specific car, and there you go. Now we have that. I'm going to press this down to lock that into its place. So what happens with the torque wrench is that once that specified torque is reached, this is going to make a clicking sound. So if we go here and put hand here, it hasn't reached yet, so it hasn't made the noise. but once it reaches that force, it is going to make a noise. There you go. You heard that click? So now if we try to do it, it's gonna click. It's gonna click. So you know that we have torqued that to the limit, and you keep doing that again on a star pattern like this. So we go here. It hasn't reached the torque yet. And there you go. So we have reached that 129 foot-pound, and it makes that clicking noise, giving you assurance that it is now rated per torque. Again, same thing. You wanna go on star pattern. There you go. We are good to go. There are 2 more left. Just make sure you keep doing this throughout. So we're completely done with that front tire and wheel there. We're gonna move on to the rear now and keep following it all 4 sides. That looks really cool. More on that in a little bit. Now here is my 19-inch wheel that came from the factory with Tesla versus the directional wheel, and you can see the big difference there. I really like how this looks, very sporty, very high performance, and the spoke pattern and everything, you know, with the directional wheel, that gives you a lot more aesthetic than your typical, you know, boring silver wheel that comes from the factory. Now I have the 2 tires back to back here. This is the Falken one that we are installing today, and this is the Continental one that came from the factory. And there are a couple of obvious differences here that I want to point out while they're both out here. First of all, the corner, the edge here that you see, the shoulder, this one is a more of a rounded shoulder versus that one is flat. And that gives you more of a uniform profile on the top. The Falken ones, they're more of a squared off tire versus these are rounded tires. Now, the biggest difference that you're gonna notice is how they handle when you are, you know, doing a corner, when you are trying to make a lane change. This is going to give you a lot more stability. This is not going to feel as soft or smooth because that is the purpose of the Continental tires. When it is not, you know, square like that, it is going to give you a smoother turn, but at the flip side of that is you're not gonna get as good of a grip because these things kind of tend to roll on the side. So when you are turning, they roll on the side. So you're not going to have the full profile, full tread on the road. That means you're not gonna get as good of a grip or the performance and handling versus these guys. These are stiffer sidewalls, so it does not roll on the edge and the side here. So you're gonna get more tread on the road. That means the performance is gonna be better when the entire wheel stays, the tread stays on the road. That also has a big benefit of tread wear over time. These guys tend to have a lot more wear on the side, as you can see, versus on the middle, because oftentimes when you were doing the turning or when you were making the lane changes and the wheel needs to corner, the load gets on the edge so that it is going to wear out a lot faster on the edge, versus these guys are going to give you a even wire instead of an uneven wire like this. You are going to get an even tread wire, so it is going to last you a lot longer. That is probably why they have, you know, the 50,000-mile warranty on this one versus, you know, you don't typically get that with the Tesla's OEM tires. So that is another big differences that you can get is not just for the performance of it, but also for the longevity of the tires that you have with even wire versus uneven wire here. Now let's take a closer look at the sipes and the tread patterns that they have on the tire. These are not for decorations, they actually serve a very important purpose. When you first look at this here, this is not a symmetrical tread pattern. So they're not the same pattern on the left versus the right, and that is for a big purpose. These are all-season tires. They're able to do a very good performance on winter, the wet condition and everything. So if you look at some of the sipes here, these are interlocking sipes that you see. These are really great for biting into the snow during the snowy condition, as well as just the overall, you know, light snow and conditions that you encounter on the road. There is these grooves that you see here. These are for water evacuation, so you are not hydroplaning. These are interlocking grooves and sides that you see here. These are really good for giving you the wet performance. And then the solid side that you see here, these are wider treads. These are very deep treads here, and these are really good for giving you that handling, the corner cornering and everything. These are solid here on the shoulder. So they all have their specific purposes to make this a high-performing tire that also serves on both the wet and the dry conditions. The sipes and the treads are really deep that are built in, and the benefit of that is as these treads are going down and you are using them, this, as you see, the sipes are also going very deep, so your tire is not going to be super bald. These are like, look at that here, it goes all the way to the tread depth. Like if you see, they actually cut in and go all the way to the tread depth, so that as you wear down your tire, you're still getting the performance, you're still getting that grip and safety and everything that you want from your tire. So these are engineered very specifically to fit those purposes. Now about these wheels, they are mainly for aesthetics reason. It gives you a car a more of a sportier look. If you look at it from this angle here, it looks a lot better than those silver wheels that I had originally there. The spokes that are facing to the back location makes your car kind of going swoop like that, and it is on both sides. So if you look at it here, they go this way, the spokes go that way. That's why this is a true directional wheel, because if we were to go on the other side here, if you look at it there, the spokes are facing the same back location there. So it is not like on the non-directional wheels where they say it is directional, but they make all four wheels facing the same way. Then in this situation, you would have two wheels facing back and then two wheels facing forward, but not in this case because these are true directional wheels. So you can see that they are all facing the back location, giving that really nice flow type of a feeling here. So purely for aesthetic purposes, making your car look more of a sportier performance model, just without needing the performance version of the Tesla. So that just gives you that boost there. Again, car enthusiasts, these are a great wheel options for you all. Now, as these tires provide excellent performance, you are going to have one downside, which would be a little bit of a less range. And let me explain to you. As you can see, the entire tire right now is hitting the surface there. So you're going to get all the tread in the surface. It's not going to roll over on one side or other. That means with that thing on the surface, the entire tread on the surface, the car is going to take a little bit more energy to spin that wheel. That means to move that tire going, it is just going to waste a little bit more range than you're used to with the OEM tire, because the OEM tires are designed to give you the maximum amount of range, as I said in the beginning, versus these are performance tires that give you all the handling and the performance so much better, but at expense of a little bit of the range. Now let's talk about the quantifiable data here for that range loss. And I want you to keep in mind there's a couple of things going on here. So it is not a straight math that, after swapping out the tires and wheels, I got worse range, because the winter also hit after I did this install. So right here on trip B is what I had reset it after I installed these tires and wheels. It is showing 324 watt-hour per mile, which is significantly more than the average that I get, around 270 watt-hour per mile on stock Tesla wheels and tires. Now, on the stock ones, I also put a wheel cover, so it gives more aerodynamics, so I'm going to be, of course, getting better range. But with this one, as you see, 1756 miles I have driven so far, and 324 versus 270, that is about 20% increase in consumption. So you're going to get 20% less range with a straight math. But that is not the full story. If you look at it right here, since the last charge, 110 miles, I've given 254 watt-hour per mile, which is super low because the weather outside was a lot better than what it has been for the duration of this. This has also been a lot of highway miles, which is, more speed. I'm going, over the speed limit. It's just going to get less efficient. So these ones are more of a city driving that I got since the last charge, 110 miles. I'm getting a lot better watt-hour per mile. So yes, it is going to be higher. There's no denying on that. These tires have more tread that are on the road, so it is going to take a lot more energy to keep those tires rolling, as well as the wheels, because these are directional wheels. They are more open. They're going to be less aerodynamic than just covering the entire wheel with the wheel cap like this. So I'm going to take a hit. I was expecting somewhere in the 10 to 15%, which is probably what is correct, about 10-12%. Then this this 20% that you're seeing. This 20% is also because of the winter. So during the winter time, if I replace these tires and put the OEM ones, that like if I reset this is going to look higher than what it is here. But just wanted to show you the data here. What I have been getting is 1756 miles, a lot of highway driving, 324 versus city driving, a little bit of warmer temperature, 254. Now let's talk about my general impression about these tires. As I say, I put in about 1700 miles. There are a lot of highway miles, and I've experienced a lot of different conditions while driving, the rainy condition, the dry condition. It hasn't snowed yet, so I can't talk about the snow condition, but I will be making a follow-up video telling you all an update on how it handles on the snow. Now, the first thing that I have noticed is during turning or cornering like this, I feel the difference between the OEM tires and these tires. They are a lot faster. I get that instant response from the steering wheel when I'm turning and cornering, rather than a little bit of a sluggish response that I would get from the OEM tires. Another thing that I have noticed is the sound, right? The noise is significantly reduced. I don't know if my OEM tires, I have had to patch a couple of times, so if it had any kind of effect on the foam, but the foam that they put on this silent core ones are really amazing. It does make a difference. The cavity noise and everything is super reduced. So while going through the road, I don't hear that as much as I would on the stock tire, especially the tires that I have had to use a couple of times on my other Tesla where it was a non-OEM tire, so it didn't have a foam, and I could hear the difference. But even with the foam one, this ones feel a lot quieter, so it does give you that benefit of having a super quiet tires. And they did say that they engineered it not to just put some random foam inside the tires, but to see where the cavity noise was going to be higher. That's the noise vibration that is bouncing through your tire wall. This dampens it, so then you do reduce that noise. So I do notice it. It is a big difference for me. Another thing I have noticed is when I'm going through puddles or any type of a manhole cover that is sticking out a little bit, I used to hear that very loud, like I used to cringe going through that it was, I don't know how to explain that noise. It was just like a thud type of a noise that was really loud, versus with these tires, I have noticed, I don't know if because it has a stiffer wall and the tread, is that it doesn't feel as loud. It just feels more of a dampened, like a softer type of a feeling. So again, I don't know how to explain all of this scientifically, but that's just how I have experienced. Handling wide, it has rained a lot of times that I have driven this, and it has done a really good job. I don't feel like I'm gonna hydroplane, which is good because the grooves and everything with the method that they use here, it should be doing its job. No issues, thankfully, and hopefully that I never get issues with hydroplaning or things like that. But it has done a really good job so far. So performance-wise, I'm getting a good results from these tires. No complaint here. They feel really nice on my Tesla. So what do y'all think about this Falken tires and TSportline Flow Force directional wheels? Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I take performance over range any day, so that little bit of a hit that I took on the range is not a problem for me. But if that is a deal breaker for you, maybe these tires are not it. But if you prefer longer tread life, better handling during the snow, the wet condition, the dry condition, then these are great options. I'm gonna be making a follow-up video during snow conditions because I have yet to take this on a snow ride here. So it should start snowing here shortly, probably within a month or so. So I'm gonna be making a follow-up video showing you all how this handled on the snow. Thanks for watching this video. Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and come back again soon.